What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the SFS channel. My name's Gavin, and today I've got some fantasy football week 15 lineup advice for you guys and some key contributors at the running back position with 5 guys who are must starts this week and are going to fill big roles in fantasy lineups here as we creep towards championship season, and for some leagues we may have already arrived there. As always, if you guys haven't already, make sure to go down and join the SFS family by hitting the subscribe button and turning that bell on so you guys are notified whenever I come out with a new video. It really helps me out. I love to see the channel grow, and each and every single one of you guys around here is very appreciated. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's hit the intro and get into my top 5 running backs to start in week 15. All right, my first must-start player this week is Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts, going up against the Houston Texans' 31st ranked rushing defense this week. And after what JT has done the past 2 weeks, I have an extreme amount of confidence in him here. Back-to-back games for JT with 20.5 or more fantasy points in half PPR scoring. And like I said, that Texans defense is bad, and JT is playing hot right now. He can exploit that unit and have a big day. JT's got 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. He had a long one last week in week 14 and even caught one through the air in week 13. So JT, a guy I'm super high on the rest of this season. I really like his ceiling, and especially as a guy who has a lot of touches in that offense, I like his floor as well. And especially in this game against the Texans' bad defense, I really like what he can do. My next guy up on the list that is a must-start player this week is Cam Akers, the Los Angeles Rams running back. And Akers is a guy who, again, I think has an extremely high ceiling. If you watched my fantasy Q&A from yesterday, you guys will know I am all over Cam Akers this week. Obviously, coming off 2 huge games, he's got back-to-back 20-touch performances. And Cam Akers, in a week 14 win against the Pats, had 194 yards from scrimmage. Didn't find the end zone, but the previous 2 games he did. So, in a game here against the Jets, a very bad football team, and a team that I think the Rams can really exploit on the offensive side of the ball, I think they're going to have a lot of time of possession. Akers is going to get a lot of carries, and that run game is going to wind the clock down, and that opportunity load is going to give Akers a high ceiling. So I love the touches he's getting. Akers has a safe floor for that reason, and like I said, the explosion we're seeing out of him, when he hits the edge, this guy is gone, and I think Cam Akers in a good matchup here this week can do some big things. David Montgomery is my 3rd guy on the list here this week, and a guy who is really starting to creep into middle-end RB1 territory in these good matchups here, and is becoming somewhat of a must-start. I mean, Montgomery is a guy right now, we are seeing things out of him that we have not seen all season long in that Chicago offense, but he's got 3 straight games with 22.5 or more points in half PPR scoring, so he's earned my trust this week against Minnesota. They're an average unit against the run, not great, not terrible, but I think that with the load we're seeing Montgomery get, the explosive plays we're seeing out of him, I think he's a guy that the Bears lean on here and gives a little bit more diversity. I mean, Allen Robinson was the only fantasy-relevant guy in that offense for the longest time, and I think Montgomery has finally taken part of that role over. So, David Montgomery, I love him this week. We didn't get to see him play in that first matchup between these 2 teams, and Cordero Patterson was used as the lead back, if you will, in that game. But Montgomery here, I love the opportunity, and I think with a high touch count, he can get the job done and score a couple more touchdowns, maybe even, and have some nice yardage as well. Mike Davis makes my list here at the number 4 spot, and this is simply because CMC once again is expected to be doubtful for that game against the Packers, and Green Bay right now is the 29th ranked unit against the run, and we've seen Mike Davis be pretty darn effective in good matchups as the starter for that Carolina offense, and last season CMC had a huge day against Green Bay, so obviously Mike Davis not nearly as talented as his backfield mate, but Davis can still get the job done. He's been dynamic. He's been a pass catcher in that Panthers offense, and he's been the guy used on the goal line as well. So, Mike Davis, if the Panthers can keep that game close, I really like his fantasy value this week and think he provides some nice upside for teams here in some really big games. And then my last guy on the list here is Jeff Wilson of the San Francisco 49ers, and this is a bit dependent on whether or not we see Raheem Mostert this week. He had some imaging done on his ankle and missed practice on Wednesday, so obviously, if he continues to not practice, a huge red flag there, and probably not going to see him on the field. I mean, this year for Mostert, after having a huge finish to last season, he's just been injury-riddled, and his fantasy season has been derailed. So, Jeff Wilson, though, in a tough game against the Washington football team defense last week, when he was able to take over the touches, 11 for 31 and a touchdown. Not bad. Only 3 yards per clip. Just a bit under, actually. But still a guy, I think, against the 27th ranked Dallas Cowboys run stop can get the job done this week. Maybe even score some touchdowns. And with that thin 49ers backfield, I think he'll see some really nice opportunities to get a nice workload. And then lastly here, I've got an honorable mention, if you will, and Miles Sanders. This is a guy who I've been all over since draft season. I was super high on. He had the makings to be a fantasy superstar here in 2020 with his skill set, his opportunity, his talent. I mean, it was all there for Sanders. He's explosive, and he's just a really versatile guy. But Wentz, that offense has been terrible all year. Carson Wentz's turnovers really held that team back, and especially the run game, because when you're chasing opponents, you're not running the football, and you're just not playing good football. So Miles Sanders under Hurts, though, last week, a big win, a competitive game between the Saints and the Eagles. And I think that with Hurts being a little bit more poised, he looks a little bit more comfortable out there. He's got some rushing value of his own. I think he opens up some lanes for Sanders here, pulls some defenders with him, and might give him an opportunity to gash that Cardinals defense. I mean, not a great matchup. Kind of similar right in the middle of the pack to that David Montgomery versus Minnesota matchup. But if Sanders gets the opportunity to touch the ball 20-plus times, I think he'll have a really nice game. And like I said, super dynamic, very versatile. The guy is an elite talent. All he needs is an opportunity. He will showcase what he can do here for your teams. Those were 5 must-start running backs for Week 15 NFL action. If you guys enjoyed today's video, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and turn that bell on so you guys are notified whenever I come out with a new video or go live for a fantasy Q&A. Those things are huge for you guys. I'm up to answer whatever fantasy questions you've got for me, whether it be about the waiver wire, your lineups, anything whatsoever. I'm down to answer it. I can help you guys out however you need me, and I'm here for you guys here down the stretch and want to help you secure some titles. So make sure to do that. Turn that bell on, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.